Destiny crashes out and defends Hutch a massive cope fest.
Defensive Iron Dome capabilities while allowing the actual bombs Palestinians to continue. I've long stated that
Remember, especially for people like this, the only acceptable solution is the absolute and total annihilation of all the Jews. Zionists! Of all the Zionists, the country of Israel, okay?
I do not believe that adding to the death count of innocent victims to this war is constructive to its end. That is a simple and clear difference of opinion that has long been established. Oh, wow. Wow, what a humanitarian over here. I remain focused on cutting the flow of U.S. munitions that are being used to perpetuate the genocide in Gaza. And again, obviously we've given a lot of credit to AOC, but we're also going to call balls and strikes, and this is a real L. We're going to take a look at some of the reactions in it. But my reaction to this is like, we're not funding an Iron Dome for like the civilians of Russia. You know what I'm saying? Like there's lots of countries where the civilians are in harm's way.
What? I need a translator. I tweeted at them. Boom. There you go. Would you consider having Professor Dave on for a chat about Israel-Palestine? I love his science videos, but I think he has God's all wrong. Yeah, I mean, if he wanted to, I would, but he would never talk to me.
Adding her momentum the other day saying, hey,
type in their chat?
AOC going to see the writing on the wall? Is she going to see, hey, Zoran was able to, you know, just trailblaze with his progressive message because he didn't indulge in any of their talking points. He didn't, you know, bend the knee at any point. He was, you know, honest, earnest, but he was, you know, stood firm in his values. Is she going to do the same? And immediately, 2 days later, 3 days later, she folds, she bends the knee like this. A couple of people on Twitter pointed out that if the International Court of Justice ever did prosecute the United States politicians, the easiest case they would have would be AOC, because she will both call it a genocide and then say that she wants to give them more money. Like, it's an absolutely insane thing to do, to say, I'm willing to send more aid. I'm voting against you prohibiting aid to this country that in the same breath I'm going to declare as doing a genocide. That'd be like saying, hey guys, like, you know, I understand that the Nazis are doing a lot of bad stuff, but did you look at what happened to Dresden? Like, I mean, we have to give them a defense system to make sure. It's like, no, we can't. We don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Okay, these people are perpetrating war crimes every single day. They're starving a population, and you don't get to act like you're on the side of justice when you're not going to risk any political capital. And the other thing that I saw floating around that I think is worth sharing is this piece from Jewish Currents from May of 2023. I remember, Gavin, you also remember when AOC voted the first time on Iron Dome funding, and I believe she voted present on this bill today as she did last time, but for all intents and purposes, she didn't stand with people like Rashida Tlaib, like Ilhan Omar, like Summer Lee, like Rep. Al Green from Texas. Anyway, this says, clear as day, Iron Dome is not a defensive system. The Iron Dome cannot meaningfully be considered life-saving in any value system that recognizes Palestinian humanity. The purported defensive Iron Dome allows Israel to strike without fear of repercussion, and because the cost is so low when measured in Israeli casualties, Israel can wage perpetual war without suffering domestic political consequences and is under negligible pressure to pursue diplomacy with the Palestinians.
Jesus. So what this is saying is Israel civilians need to be able to be killed more in order to bring them to the table. Holy shit. This stream is pre-recorded? Is this a pre-recorded stream? Oh, well, listen, I tweeted on my type in their chat. We'll see if they respond. They're mentioning you right now. Yeah, I'm in their stream title. No, like talking about you. Like talking about me in their chat.
Allergic to fucking to say hello to Mr. Destins. Also, speaking of Nazis, apparently Destiny's in our chat right
I'm a Nazi too?
now. A literal sucker of Nazi penis. Oh, well. A literal sucker of Nazi penis is in our chat right now. So everyone, you know, take a moment to say hello to Mr. What do people call him? Sex Pestiny?
Sex Pestiny.
Hey.
Mr. Marinelli. Mr. Morelli. Hello.
Hey,
There you go. Either way,
true and base. True and base.
Wow.
And then went off to suck a literal Nazi's penis. Either way, that's, you know, not any of my business. But
Fun in America's armpit mouth.
Kyle says this is pathetic. And again, Kyle is
Absolutely true and based. Definitely not quivering in fucking fear. But okay, based. Okay, hold on. Let's do one more we'll poke him a little bit more.
attention to this disaster.
Yeah, that's a good question. If I'm her PR person, I'm telling her to vote with Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Summer Lee, and Al Green, obviously. But assuming that's off the table, my advice to her would be to log off. Yeah, for sure. And I would say to just, you know, take some time off of Instagram Live, you know, make some innocuous posts for the girlies and the, you know, the more like you know, oh, let's just watch AOC for, you know, more Instagrammable content, right? That kind of thing, which is, you know, a way that she connects with people. But I think it's disgusting. I think it's bad politics. I think that it flies in the face of her brand. And I think that she is going to suffer some consequences for this. Like, I think this.
There we go. Hit him up with the little pokies. Trump announces a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. Just the president of the United States suing media publications for publishing mean stuff about him. Totally normal, totally okay, totally not weird. Definitely no chilling effect on speech there. Fuck, I hate that. Okay, sure, I need to unplug. We gotta go back to video games. Like, remember that these guys were saying, when you bring up the Twitter files, they go, the FBI censored Twitter. And you go, no, they didn't. And it's like, well, didn't they tell them to ban accounts? No. They gave them well, didn't they suggesting accounts to be banned based on political speech? No. They gave them a list of like 200,000 accounts, I think, that they said could be like Chinese operated bots or whatever. Okay, well, isn't that censorship? No, Twitter didn't even ban them. Okay, well, the mere fact that the FBI would even suggest that some of these accounts might be bots is enough to say that there was pressure there. And it's like, oh, okay. What about Donald Trump suing media companies that publish stories about him that he doesn't like? Well, that's his right to do. Okay, so we never actually give a fuck about any of that. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
They were run by Chris Wray and they were run by Comey, and because it was actually even before that administration.
Have come out and put forth a bill that I agree with, right? We talked about it during Donald Trump's first term. Okay, there was a bipartisan piece of legislation that got 60 votes in the Senate. And it went to Donald Trump's desk, and it said, "Hey, we do not want to supply weapons to Saudi Arabia so that they could continue to do a genocide."
A genocide,
not a genocide. That not a lot of people paid attention to, but it existed as a big geopolitical problem in the first term of Donald Trump. Either way, it went to Donald Trump's desk, and he vetoed it. Right? He fucking vetoed it. It was crazy. Or they got however many. It was 51 vote. Wait, because it wasn't a reconciliation bill. I forget how that works. Destiny, I'm sure you can lecture us in the chat about the fucking intricacies of Congress. But the reality is Donald Trump vetoed it, and it was sponsored by like Ro Khanna and Rand Paul from Kentucky, right? So it was a piece of really effective bipartisan legislation, and AOC had no problem voting for that, even though it was sponsored by a guy like Rand Paul.
I love how when people talk about like, oh, look at how bipartisan it is, they reach for the outer perimeter members of like a party. Like, oh, Ro Khanna supported it. Wow, good one. Great. Wow, look at all these Democrats that are also supporting Republicans. Which ones? Like RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. Wow, amazing, bro. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, you're choosing the most activist members of Congress, but okay, never mind. I'm bored again. The Trump administration ordered FBI agents investigating the Epstein files to flag any mentions of Trump, according to Senate Judiciary Committee. My office was told that these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. Notably, in 2002, Mr. Trump said of Epstein, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the minor side." Just yesterday, it was reported that the department previously reviewed a leather-bound album comprised of dozens of letters.
Mr. President, why not go further than just unsealing this?
Mr. President, did you send that letter? Release the full file.
Based.